Corruption by P.K. Armstrong. Chapter 12. Activity around Clark Kincaid's building was nil considering the early morning hour. Angel ignored the parking lot this time and looked for a space on the side street, pulling up to parallel park just after the entrance to the parking lot in the back. She locked her car and, noting it was still too early to pay the meter, opted to walk through the back lot into the building. She walked unhurriedly by the elite spaces close to the back doors where she spied Clark Kincaid's Mercedes. She wasn't surprised he had made it there before her. The man was a workaholic. As she moved past his car, she did get one surprise. She could see feet on the ground near the back tire. Her training kicked in, and she stopped and scanned the parking lot, but there was no activity in or out. She moved slowly around the car to make sure she was alone and glanced at him quickly. It was Clark Kincaid, and there was blood trailing down the left side of his face. She moved to check no one was hiding near the front of his car and checked some bushes and a tree. They were alone. She went back to Clark and crouched down, checking the pulse on his wrist. His eyes opened at her touch. "Don't get excited," he whispered on a cough. "I'm not dead yet." "Clark, what happened? Who did this to you?" Angel asked. "I'm not sure exactly." Exact. Hold that thought. Angel picked up her cell phone and unclipped her earpiece and put it in her ear while she dialed 911. "Yes, this is Angelica Dale. A man has been attacked at 145 West Grand Avenue. He's bleeding from the head. We need police and paramedics." She put her cell phone in her pocket and felt for the remaining pockets. Finding a bandana that Violet had given to her because she was playing outside and it kept slipping from her head, she folded it and pressed it against Clark's head. "Clark, who did this to you?" Before he could answer, a scream came from behind her. Wearing her trainers instead of her heels, Catherine, Clark's secretary, had come upon them and screamed at the sight of the blood. Clark grabbed Angel's arm and whispered, "Catherine, I need Catherine," he insisted. "Clark, you need to—" She paused and demanded Catherine pull herself together and come over. Catherine complied admirably and squatted next to Clark. Angel tried again. "Clark, who did this to you?" Clark nodded at Catherine. "Catherine, my bag. Get the blue file in the bag and give it to the detective." He looked at Angel. "You'll understand when you see it. I didn't plan for everything." His voice faded and his eyes closed. Catherine was thinking about screaming again, and Angel decided to forestall her as she heard sirens about a block away. "Catherine, his bag is there. Get the file and give it to me." Catherine opened the bag and pulled out the file. Angel grabbed it and lifted the flap of her messenger bag and put it in. "Now," she directed, "head out towards the street and wave the paramedics in. Be quick about it." Catherine ran over at Angel's instruction and began waving her arms. Angel turned to Clark, but he was unconscious. She wasn't going to get anything else out of him right now. Angel sat in the waiting room of the ER with Catherine, anticipating an update on Clark Kincaid. When they arrived earlier, it was quiet for the ER, with only a couple of leftover persons from the late evening, early morning hours who were still waiting for family members to be discharged. But a new day brought life to the hospital. The smell from the cafeteria of eggs, bacon, country potatoes, and waffles wafted toward the ER, and the new shift was beginning their task after taking the patient report. Catherine got up to see if anyone could tell her anything, and Angel immediately opened her bag and withdrew the blue folder that Clark Kincaid insisted she have. The folder contained photocopies. It looked like someone took a picture of the finger that was found in the bag at the dead man's feet. There were also some invoices for auto wholesaler to E&S Auto in Woodhaven, a few towns to the west of Fillmore. There was a copy of a spreadsheet with names, dates, auto part prices. Another spreadsheet were names and a list of payouts of differing amounts. Angel looked up to see if anyone was around, determined she was still alone, and pulled a photocopy of a handwritten note with a list of names. The note had been crumpled, but the names were still legible, even on the bad copy. She read the list of names: Andrew Vernon, Craig James, David Sorensen, Stan Granger, and, as she reached the end, the individual whose name was at the bottom of the list walked in through the automatic doors of the ER. Christopher Roland.